Why is After Effects running in the background?
Probably something.
Yeah, but it's taking up like...
All right.
8% of my CPU.
7.
I'm going to end that process.
Just end it. Shut it all down.
Adobe is making me mad, I'll tell you what.
Well, I tell you what.
I tell you what. You sure do got a pretty mouth.
Oh, yeah. That's okay. That doesn't need an external.
Alright, yeah.
Oh,
so our audio's live.
Pro will always show up. Oh, nose will only show
Stuff.
up.
I tell you what,
Yep.
boy.
Damn it, Bobby.
Damn it, Bobby.
Brograph Live.
I want to just learn how to speak like Boomhauer.
Well, dang, crazy man.
Oh yeah. Then just save it and import it. You're good to go.
Alright. I'm loading up C4D just for happy times.
Yeah. You're gonna work while you're doing the podcast.
Yeah, you know.
I got a deadline, guys. I got a deadline.
Yeah, I figured if you guys point out a fun little shortcut that I didn't know about, I could test it live.
Cavalry. Dave, are we going to talk about cavalry?
I believe so. It might be on Monday, though. I kind of split some stuff up, so...
Dave, are we going to talk...
We'll see how well this using the Canon for a webcam works out.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Till the battery dies.
Oh, it's not plugged in?
Nope.
Oh boy.
Do you have a backup in case?
I got backup batteries. They're all charging.
Okay. Well, if that happens, we'll just pause and...
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Which is fine. I mean, whenever we record on the live stream, we're not worried about the live stream. We're only worried about the audio for the audio version. So we can pause for the cause.
Cool. Well, in that case, I'm stress level went from here to here.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, the bat signal is going out.
Oh. Did that work? Did that work? Yeah, just get it set.
Controversy.
First, and then...
There is controversy to cover. The controversy will be covered probably on Monday, though. We'll get to that later.
Oh, algorithmic?
No, that's today. That's
20%?
20% gate?
20, is that what it is?
Yeah, 20% gate. Alright. Running here. Alright, let me take our faces live, make sure we're getting the chat. Right.
Oh, the faces are live.
I have a feeling that the chat is not working again.
Yeah, because normally it says...
And I don't understand why.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in here already. Gav Grant.
There we go. There we go. Yep, we got it. I guess now it doesn't say that little
G
thing.
Rant. Rick Bogus.
So we got the woo here. So everything's working.
Tokyo Megaplex. Rocket Force. Dan Marino.
Hey, Dave Matt.
Yeah. Luminous 1.4 is finished. I can send you an update.
No,
I'll do it right. I'll do that right now.
You should have it in your inbox, I think.
It says you never,
you never saw the thing? That's weird. Myers versus the world. We'll talk about Myers on Monday.
I just logged in and I'm listening to the music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
All right, so are you guys ready to go? If so, we'll start recording here on all of our tracks. I am currently rolling.
I am rolling.
I'm not. Hold on. I am rolling now.
Check,
Let me make sure that my audio
speeding.
Sibilance.
How now, brown cow?
How now, brown cow?
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Okay.
Down in my belly.
Pronounce your last name for me.
Amirazzotti.
Amirazzotti. All right. I
Zodi.
almost got it
Okay,
right.
good. I got it right because I talked about it in my
Sage.
Brograph.
I love your face.
Rick, you should have an email now. It's refreshed.
You got it.
Got it. Cool.
Okay.
Amirazzotti.
Yeah. Do you know how many times I practiced your last name for my Seagraph talk?
I'm still practicing my name, so it's okay. I'll get it one day.
All right.
See, I remember it from our interview last year. You know,
that was
it's like, it's funny because like I'll say the name a whole bunch of times anytime I'm like interviewing someone, so I won't get it wrong, and then I'll never forget their name.
Oh yeah, it's like burned in your head. That was my first interview I've ever done.
Ooh, is it
Really?
still your only interview?
Until now.
Ah.
No. Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun few days.
Yeah, that was a blast. It always is.
Yeah.
Hello, Tesla Rock. All right, we ready to do this?
We are. We're all rolling, right?
Yep, rolling.
Okay, we're going to do a clap to sync. It's going to be 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
clap. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
It's a good clap.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Get my notes. And we'll get going.
It's sync in post. We did it in live.
Do it live.
Do it live.
All right.
Thing sucks. I use that quote probably at least once a month.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know why. It just somehow comes out just
Play
Do
us
it
out.
live.
What does that mean?
to play us out.
Play us out, huh?
So
I don't
good.
like change. All right.
If I wanted to, are you guys responding to the little chats too, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
should I, if I wanted to do that too, I just got to log in to Facebook. I see the feed. I just don't want to.
Yeah, I would say best place would be YouTube, just because most of the comments are on YouTube. They all
Gotcha.
come through, but we'll try and address them as much as possible in the show. All right.
If they're important. If they suck,
If
we won't
they're
do
important.
anything.
Okay. Here we go.
Do it.
Ready?
Ready?
Yep.
All right. You know the intro drill, right? So
Dave will introduce himself. I'll say I'm Matt, and then I'll introduce you, and then you say what up, and then Dave does his spiel,
spiel.
and then we get into it.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. Here we go. What up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph Brocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt, and joining us today is our good friend, and in my opinion, one of the nicest guys in MoGraph, our good friend, Sabor Amirazzotti.
Oh, stop, man! Come on now. No, you guys are my favorite.
And Brograph
Love you
is a
guys.
supplement to our site, brograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other MoGraph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. And you can email us, brograph@brograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show. Send us emails. And just come up with some show ideas for us so we don't have to do any work. That'd be
Right?
nice. We got some emails this week we'll talk about later on the show. We got some good emails, so just keep those coming in. We love that. I have just gotten back in town from MDC,
Yeah.
London. That was a lot of fun, and so I'm sure everybody's going to want some updates on that, but you're going to have to wait till the next show
Yeah.
because that's going to be on Monday, so you only have to wait a day, which is nice. But
Because then you'll have two people who were there, and then I can just kick
Right.
back and relax and not have to do anything
Yeah.
for that show.
Yeah, so Phil will be on. So we'll have a whole wrap of that. So you're going to kind of get a double dose this week, which is awesome. And game night, by the way, the first game night went pretty well. Mario Kart, the second game night didn't go so well because the server was down for Smash Brothers.
Yeah, and it was a big mistake because, like, you know, then I started telling everyone, okay, we're going to play Mario Kart instead. And then I literally sat in the Mario Kart waiting for someone to show up to our thing for like 45 minutes. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Sad times. If I had known, I would have joined. Physically, I would have just shown up because even if the servers were down.
So we'll do some more. We'll do some more. It should be fun. I think so far it seems like the game of choice may be Mario Kart. Maybe more people have that.
The big thing that I like about the Mario Kart stuff is that you can have local people with you and still play. With Smash Brothers, you can't have two people in the same room playing online.
Right.
Like in that whole thing. It's so dumb.
Yeah. So we'll do that. We were thinking maybe we could do some other stuff like a Halo night or whatever, but you know, it went okay. We had I don't know, about 10 people show up to Mario Kart, so that was fun.
Yep.
And that I don't really have much for like the week or whatever, unless you do. Only note I have from you, Matt, is don't buy premiumbeat.com with a debit card.
Yeah. So okay, so I'm going through like our expenses and stuff like that. And here's the thing, like if you're buying premiumbeat.com is a great website. I enjoy I enjoy their music and their selection. Thanks.
Stop interrupting, let him go.
Yeah.
Premiumbeat.com. Start getting angry.
Audio
so I started noticing oh my God. I started noticing that like we were getting these foreign transaction fees from premiumbeat.com, you know?
Yeah.
And so I noticed that when we paid with a debit card, we'd get foreign transaction fees because they're based in Canada, you know? But if you pay with a credit card, you don't get that extra like 45 cents to $1 or whatever transaction fee, which is, I don't know. I thought that was really weird. So just a heads up, if you're trying to save like 45 cents per transaction, you know, use a credit card and not a debit card.
Not a debit card. Okay, stay away from debit card on Premium D.
Yes.
Audio Jungle.
Yeah. Audio Jungle, premiumbeat.com.
Oh my gosh.
So there's not much more for this week wrap up, so I'm just gonna go right into Ravcock. What's your flavor?
What's your flavor?
Because I think we have a lot to talk about. Because so you're an Octane guy, right? You do mostly Octane, or
I do mostly Octane. I dabbled in Redshift. I bought a license for one machine. I know you can do multiple nodes with that, but I bought it specifically for a project last year where I was constructing an entire I got a SolidWorks model of an entire assembly factory.
Jeez.
And it was assembling all these little medical devices, and it had all these pods that were all made out of glass.
Oh.
Yeah. So the second I started trying to render the specular materials in Octane, I immediately knew. I was like, even if I let this resolve for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes a frame, it's still not giving me the results that I want. And I just forced myself into getting Redshift for that specific project, and it knocked it out of the park. But my head still wraps around Octane better for some reason.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah,
I'm able to use it a lot quicker, you know, but that's just because, like, I feel like if Maxon updates the node system, like the Espresso node system or whatever, like I feel like they're going to do like they were teasing with the actual node materials. If they update that and they get it working better, like because Redshift uses Espresso's layout, once they get that looking nicer and feeling nicer, I'm going to be much more efficient in Redshift.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know.
I'll be honest.
I am a lot more efficient in Octane just because I know it so well, and I don't have to use nodes, you know.
Right, and I feel like you can get in and out of Octane a little bit quicker. At least I feel like I can. And then also nodes scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it wasn't until probably about a month ago, to be honest, when I was actually starting to get comfortable with nodes. Like right around the end of the year last year, in like middle of December, I was watching David Aryev's breakdown on how to do the city, and he was just kind of explaining kind of the random shaders that were in the nodes, and just based off of that explanation alone, I was like, all right, this isn't as crazy as I thought. And yeah, now I'm a little feel like it's not as foreign to me as it was a month ago.
Yeah, so, you know, it with every new render engine, there's, you know, you have a lot of the same stuff, but it's either called something different, you know, or there's just a different workaround for it. Right. You know, like specifically with like displacement in Redshift versus displacement in Octane. You know, displacement in Octane, you just load in an image or whatever, but with Redshift, you have to actually like link it outside of your regular material and then add a tag to it, you know, and then control it through there. It's a little bit different. I mean, but once you learn the workaround, like, I don't know, I've been in Redshift for this project that Pickle Nick and I have been working on. You know, he's working on a Kickstarter video for a buddy of ours, and so I've just been kind of like
playing around
back and forth. Yeah, and I was like, hey, you should use Redshift just because, you know, we can throw it on the farm and stuff like that if we need to. You know, and we've got 2 licenses of it. You know?
And that's actually a question that I have with regards to render farms. So I have 5 licenses for Octane to distribute it amongst my machines in this room. With the reason why I did that is because the one thing, and I don't know if Redshift does this, I know Octane, the biggest speed boost that I was getting was I was getting these I was trying to render out these scenes that would take about 5 or 6 minutes a frame, and then the second I spooled up all the GPUs in my office, it would get it down to 21 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was that speed boost for me that I was excited about. And then I started to do actual network rendering. But I was running into so many issues network rendering with Octane, where my PC systems would not have the proper textures baked in, and the Mac systems would. And then I'd have to restart the renderer. I'd have to go back and fix all the frames. Now that was in version 3. I haven't tested the whole network rendering in version 4 yet, but I remember that was also another reason why I was like, I think Redshift does network rendering much better than Octane does, but
I'm not sure. Like, from what and I could be totally wrong on this, so chat, if I'm saying this wrong, please tell me. But I'm pretty sure you have to use TeamViewer, you know, or not TeamViewer, Team Render, if you're going to use Redshift across multiple machines, unless you get into like Deadline and stuff like that.
Right.
So, but I mean, I haven't had to. I've got 2 machines, so I'll just set them up to do different scenes and stuff like that. You know,
which seems to be the safest option. You know, and I always, after doing that whole network rendering thing with the distributed renderers and actually doing it with the not the render queue but the team renderer, that's when the headache was so not worth it. So then I just continually do slave rendering, and I just have all the GPUs spool up. It seems to be the safest option because then just one machine's trying to manage all the frames.
Yeah. Right. No, I'm totally with you there. Yeah. And that's normally what I do whenever I'm at home as well, or when I'm just working.
Mac versus PC file patching, probably. I just saw that from Billy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. That could be it.
Yeah.
Chad's in the chat room right now. Chad Ashley. Actually, I used the material pack for this little thing I did yesterday. After Phil and I were watching some of the presentations at MDC, I was kind of inspired and ready to do some stuff. And we were talking, and it was like, you know, I want to be able to do and this is why, I mean, you could do this in Redshift too. This is why I like these packs and things like this, is because you can focus on telling the story that you want to tell. You know, a lot of times I sit down to do a render, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do like this architectural thing, whatever. And I started thinking, I'm like, well, maybe I want to do a story or something, or a little, just a little funny thing, whatever it is, right? You know, animated GIF or whatever it is. But this little deal right here I made yesterday, just for fun. But this is all GSG material pack. But it's nice because it's like there, you just throw it on there, you know, you just, and you know, change the colors and stuff, of course, on some of it or whatever. But all GSG materials, it's kind of nice to just be able to not have to think about that and not think about, oh, I need to go to Polygon and then I need to get all the textures and then I have to layer them and get them all set right. It's like, no, just
that's what I was going to say.
The open database and just have that stuff in there and just drag it right in and just go about it.
If you guys don't have the GSG texture pack, I say get it, because it is invaluable. It's so good.
And isn't it using the universal material in Octane?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't think so.
I don't think,
but I could be wrong on that.
I don't think so. Because I was editing some stuff and it wasn't in the. I don't think it was in the universal.
Got it. Okay. Cool. But yeah, talk about time saver though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Dave was saying, it's nice because like if I need a wood texture, I just go there, you know, and because normally it's my thing is go to Polygon, you know, download the thing, have to put everything where it goes, and then, you know, hope that it looks nice, that it looks nice. And it's
not to discount from the Polygon texture, because they are gorgeous, but
no, they are.
The time that it takes, and
I mean I will say I tried the what is it, the Polygon texture converter just yesterday, and it's awesome.
Really?
So basically you download a texture, you've got the plugin, and you basically say where the folder is, and it automatically creates the texture for you with everything plugged in exactly like it needs to be.
Nice.
Yeah, super nice.
It is using universal material.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Cool. I guess I wasn't really paying attention to that, but yeah, I didn't really change too much. I just, like, on a couple of these plastic textures, I was just changing the color. So
it looked great.
Thanks.
It looked great. It put a smile on my face.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do some different stuff, and we'll talk about it more in the Monday show with Phil, but I'm just trying to just do stuff kind of out of my, stay out of my, what do you call it, comfort zone.
Comfort zone.
There's an article.
I'm right there with you.
I'll link to it in the show notes. There's a whole article about learning and being out of your comfort zone and how much it really helps. If you haven't checked out our Brograph talk where we posted like the nice produced clean version of the DFW C4D presentation that Chad did on how he built all that stuff, that's really, really good.
Yeah, it is.
So I guess okay, two more other Ravcock things right quick, and then I want to kind of move into the algorithmic topic. So we've got first of all, we were talking about Redshift versus Octane before the show, and this is something that came up with me specifically because I'm still doing all the Octane stuff, is you've got sometimes weird sample things that go on with lights. The other day I had a deal where some lights were fading up, and when the lights faded up, then like these other lights started getting all dark and grainy, and it's just like, what is going on? Like all that's happening is something is fading up, and it was just interfering with the other lights, and it's just such a pain. And I know that's what you like, Matt, is that Redshift doesn't have that issue.
Yes, like lights in Redshift are my #1 reason for using it. It's because I hate working with lights in Octane. It's such a pain. I feel like you have to go through so many workarounds just to make it look good, and having to deal with the individual, like, first of all, taking a total amount of samples and then doing the, percentage of each one in order to make it look good. I don't want to deal with that, because if I want to just be able to throw another light in the scene, and then if it's causing grain, then I just up the samples on that one light, and then I'm good to go.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Have you played around with the AI denoiser in Octane out of curiosity?
I have, and I don't really notice a difference.
Oh, I've done a lot more with it than you have. Like I feel like I really have a handle on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I try and, as dumb as it is, like everyone's all about like denoise, but I just don't want to really use denoise because I don't think it's at a point yet where like it's ready for production.
I only use it when I have to, but I generally mix it back in with the original a lot.
Yeah, if I'm gonna denoise something, I'm just gonna use Neat Video, because Neat Video,
I was just about to say that,
is like the best.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
I literally just did that city scene that I was telling you I did, that I just rendered out last week. It had a lot of that volumetric lighting, and oh my god, I could not get the denoiser to work right. It just looked blotchy with all the volumetric emissions and all that stuff. Just looked the temporal aspect of it didn't work as well as Neat Video did. Neat Video just nailed it.
Yeah. And the thing is, if I'm doing a still, I may actually use the denoiser, because I don't have to worry about being able to see all the artifacting and the smoothing and whatever, know.
And in something
I just hate that I'll spend so much time like trying to bring out the details to make it look more realistic, and then you throw a denoiser on it and it just ruins everything.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's like, why did I waste all my time doing that?
Yeah. I tried denoiser, and all the really, really cool subtle variations and stuff in this texture pack, material pack, you lose all of that as soon as a denoiser goes on. So I didn't do that. I actually did path tracing with no denoising at all. And then, of course, you put it on Instagram and you lose all the detail.
Right.
Chad
says denoise and resolve is as good as Neat Video.
Yeah,
that's really good to know. I used Resolve for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I really liked it, other than the fact that it crashed like old school Premiere does.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty crashy on me.
Interesting.
But I don't know if it was the fact that I was using the free version or whatever. I don't know. I also, for some reason, I thought if you bought Fusion, you got Resolve for free, or you did,
built
but
into each other or something.
I don't know. So anyway,
confusing.
Yeah. Dude, ever since Adobe allowed for ProRes files on whatchamacallit, in After Effects, it's like
you went back to After Effects.
I went back to After Effects. I'm not in Fusion much anymore.
Good thing we bought two copies of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's good to have around.
Yeah, no.
I'm still struggling with all these updates that Adobe is being forced to do, because my main machine is a Mac system, and then all my slave machines are Windows machines, with the exception of one other Mac Pro. And the machine that I have as my main machine, I am constantly fighting this battle, where I'm now stuck on Sierra. I can't go go past it because High Sierra basically kills 3 video cards in one machine, and then so I have three video cards in this machine right here with a Cubics expander box that has 2 of them, but it doesn't matter. The second you upgrade, it only wants 1 display GPU, and then it'll allow 2 beefier GPUs, but it will not allow 3 basically powerful GPUs in your machine, just because of a software limitation. And then on top of that, if you upgrade to Mojave, Nvidia graphics cards aren't even supported.
Right.
So it's like
Andy Needham and I were talking about that in London last week.
Yeah,
and it's crazy because Adobe is requiring the new Nvidia drivers and the new drivers to function with CUDA and all that stuff. So I can't do any graphics acceleration in the new software because my drivers are outdated, but I have the latest driver possible with the operating system that I have. So I'm now stuck in time. I can't go anywhere at this point.
I'm right there with you. I'm
So-
right there with you. I've got
So
a
Dave,
2000.
Yeah.
I have a 2009 Mac Pro, like the tower, you know,
Yes.
the cheese grater.
She's great.
And
Yes.
it did have two 980 Ti's in it, but I took those out and built a whole new machine. I used that Mac literally as my server for my Dropbox.
I do the same thing.
You know,
I do the
and
same
I just
thing.
access it. And actually, Pickle Nick and I were talking.
$5,000 Dropbox server.
Pickle
Yeah.
Nick and I were
Seriously.
talking. We're going to hook up a monitor to it so we can just watch tutorials while we work all day. You
I
know,
love it.
so it is a
Yeah.
glorified Dropbox and tutorial machine,
You
and
know-
that's all it's good for. Because you can't update, like I can't get the new Adobe software on
Right.
it because I can't update to a newer OS. Like it
Yeah.
will not let me. You
Yeah.
know, so it's
Yeah.
like
Chad's like,
there's
come
no
on,
point."
bro, get on PC.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback on that. So, and Chad's totally right, because just yesterday I did a test. I opened up the exact scene that I've been working on for the past month on my Mac, and I opened it up on my Windows machine. Right, the Windows machine has 4 GPUs on it. So I shut off one of them just to get a nice apples to apples comparison. Right.
Mhm.
So the viewport and the Octane performance versus the Mac version, night and day.
Mhm.
I could not believe how much faster the interaction was, the resolving of the frame was,
Yeah.
just moving through the entire city and having it resolve just like that, and not having it to be where it was literally slowed down to a crawl. That was that pivotal moment for me yesterday, where I'm
Mhm.
like, I washed my hands of this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's about
so I'm
that
gonna
time.
make a YouTube. I'm gonna make a tutorial machine too in a second.
Yeah. And
And
apparently,
then you'll do
get-
like Nate Campbell and show like do a whole video on
Yeah,
how
there you
you
go.
got a new machine, right?
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, there's apparently there is a resolved copy that does come with Fusion 9 Studio. So
Okay.
guess.
Well, I need to look at that
yeah,
because I need to
see?
install.
Got my
But I
box
did-
right here. Ooh.
Oh, nice.
I did enjoy Resolve. I thought it was very, very nice. So
Yeah.
I would like to get into it more. Now, if we could just find a really, really good After Effects replacement.
Speaking of which, no, we'll come back to that.
We'll come back to that.
We'll come back to that. Let me go back to my notes because I'm completely lost. The only other note I had is on the hardware kick, I don't know, there are some good resources, but it's so hard to point people in the right direction when they ask about hardware because people will like get on the Octane group or Redshift group or whatever it is and ask about hardware and be like, you know, what do I need? Like, what do I need to do to make my computer better? And then not post anything else. And it's like, I don't know how much
Even
RAM
like
you
it.
have. Or they'll say, you know, how much RAM do I need? And they won't even say, like, what engine they're using or what computer they have. Or
Right.
It's so hard to even help people in that area. It's like, everybody is different. Everybody has different needs. Everybody has different budget. Everybody has different clients. You know, so these questions, I don't know. It's just it's so hard to say. I just usually point people in the direction of thesagery.com/builds.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a good start.
Yeah.
But, let's talk.
Which pizza best for rendering C4D?
Oh yeah, yeah. Tell me, is C4D? That's, like those questions. I'm like,
That's my favorite.
there've been so many
Yeah,
of those.
that's
Everybody is like, just like, what is going on?
Mhm.
Somebody was
I'm
talking
not-
about sperm the other day and rendering sperm and like was
Weird.
not you couldn't tell if they were asking if they needed somebody to render sperm or if they were rendering
Oh my-
sperm. And it's
I
just
need
like, what is going
sperm,
on?
which render engine good.
Yeah.
Real flow.
Real.
Yeah.
Right, there you go.
Ding.
X particles, come on, dude.
Where's the bell, Matt? Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Let's talk about algorithmic and this
Okay.
Adobe takeover of substance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's such an enthusiastic exhale.
Right.
Yeah. So everybody, of course, here's the thing: when something happens like that, it's the same thing that happened when David came to Maxon from Adobe, and it was like,
Yeah, I can see that.
everybody's freaking out. It's like, just hold on. It's like, okay, I understand. I understand why people are concerned, but let's just wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
With Adobe, it's a little bit nerve-wracking because you're like, what's going to happen? Is there still going to be a perpetual license? Are they going to change it up? Are they going to make it suck? Are they going to leave it as it is? Like, what's the deal? It's really, really hard. Of course, I would love to hear what Chad Ashley has to say about this.
Yeah, I'm curious if he's like raising his hand. Or...
Yeah.
or like, is that just a stop emoji? Yeah.
Me.
Like Sage commented last week, he said Substance Source rolls into Adobe Stock. I guess nobody really knows yet, as far as I've seen, where it's going to land as far as subscription services.
I'm sure. Here's the thing: we all pay for, and so Adobe upped their price like last year or something, and so they only upped it like maybe $3 to $5 or something like that. I can't really remember. They're not going to up it again, I don't think. I think they bought Algorithmic, knowing full well that they're going to continue charging the same price. Now that's me. I could be totally wrong. And if they do start charging more
into the regular subscription, though,
I absolutely think so. I think so.
I mean, it would be nice, of course.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, yeah, I really do. Or maybe they're going to try and incorporate Algorithmic stuff into Photoshop,
I mean, they acquired Metal, and that was a pretty big purchase in and of itself, and incorporated that into the suite. So why, I feel like that kind of agree with Matt. Like, there's a potential. I mean, it's they're just trying to get all the tools in one location. It sounds like so.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice.
Well, one of the comments that I think Billy had last week, if I could find it here, just in talking about After Effects, for example. After Effects is the most common motion designer program, honestly, right? And it's gotten worse in the last 5 years, which I think most of us would agree. But yet we've all paid in the last 3 years like $3,000 out of pocket for it. Like, what are we paying $3,000 for at this point?
Right.
A lot of people just kind of find an old version and stick with that instead, like an old perpetual license.
Yeah, dude, they really messed up 2019. Like, I do not like the 2019 stuff because I don't like the new, like, they've got this new licensing stuff, like they're trying to, dissuade people from sharing their login information, which I get, but like, I have several computers here, and like, if I'm jumping from one and rendering, and then I'll jump on another one and start working, but then I walk out of the house and use my laptop, normally it would just say log in, and log the other ones off. Well, with the new stuff, it shuts down the program on the computer that you're using.
Right.
So like, and just says, oh, do you want to save? Which I guess is fine, but it's annoying when I'm not thinking about it. Oh, this is going to shut it down and it's going to cause me a bunch of inconvenience. Right. It was super. It's just been super annoying. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's even on the surface level. There's also like the inner workings that are getting a little frustrating too. Just on my 2019, I can't use it just because half of my library of video assets that I've purchased do not work because they were rendered in that MJPEG codec or whatever. So it's giving me that error that I still have a copy of 2017 because I have to use that to open up all those projects that used all those assets. Yeah. And then 2019 broke CUDA support, so my Nvidia I can't get the GPUs to work properly in it. So I don't know. It's just a whole gamut of things that are going wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, okay, just and I tweeted to Adobe the other day. I said, please stop buying companies and please just fix the ones that don't work.
Yeah.
Billy said that they said new subscription model, hinting that it won't be the regular.
Yeah, but CC. I think that was Algorithmic that said that, right? I'm pretty sure that was Algorithmic that said that, and not Adobe.
I was in London. I was only half paying attention.
So I think it was Algorithmic that said that. So that would assume that the new subscription model, instead of it being $20 a month like you've been paying for Substance, you know, it's now going to go into the Adobe suite, which is going to be the $60 a month or 65 or whatever.
Right.
You know,
Chad said he would try calling in to chime in on this subject. I can try and add him real quick.
yeah, dude, do it.
He said he didn't want to derail, but I could try. We'll see if he answers.
Totally
that.
fine.
I'm all about
Let's
this.
see. Chad Ashley. Add. I'm gonna go to the four banger. Let's see what happens here. Who knows? It's not.
People.
It's not
It's
people
not
though.
people.
All on the fly here, folks. I'll just change it. We'll see if he comes in here.
Do it live.
Chad.
Do it live.
Ashley.
Dude, this is the best. We couldn't have done this like before the NDI stuff.
Oh, I know. Let's see if he answers. I think it's connecting. We'll see.
Ramon Santos
Ramon.
said, "I hope you guys are doing well. We met all three of you. Yes, we will be. Two of us will be at the NAB booth. I am trying to convince Sabor to come up.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only a couple hours away,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right? If you're in LA or around that area, you have no excuse not to come to NAB.
These are facts.
Yes. Yeah.
So
All
far.
right, Chad, we're waiting for you.
Yeah.
That's all right.
If he
All right.
comes in, I'll add him. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, back to Substance.
Yes.
I just wish I wish basic things would work. Like, I want to be
RAM
able
preview?
to RAM preview. Yeah, you know, I want to be able to export an H.264 from After Effects instead of having to go to Media Encoder. Right?
Oh, that'd be so
I
nice.
want to be able to take some video that plays absolutely fluidly in Premiere and play it absolutely fluidly in After Effects. Like, they're the same company.
Yes.
They should be able to play the same way through anything. I can literally take Premiere, load up 6 layers deep, you know, with alpha channels and
Yeah.
like transfer modes and stuff like that, and it plays like that. You do that in After Effects, and you're gonna be waiting days.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
true.
Ramon,
I
thank
never
you.
understood that. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it doesn't.
I don't get it either.
It doesn't make sense. It's like, and it was like 5 years ago, I think. You know, I was watching the Adobe presentations, and they were introducing all the new stuff that was coming to After Effects. And he said, we decided to take the last year and work on speed and get our speed working correctly. You know, I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. This is going to be great. You've upgraded. And I have never yet to see those actual speed improvements. The one thing that changed from that point was, if you make a change and you don't like that change and you already had an area rendered and you undo it, you don't have to re-render that area.
Yeah, it saves
But why
that
can't-
cache, right?
Yeah, why can't they just take a hint from something like I'm pretty sure Nuke does this. I'm pretty sure Fusion, and I'm pretty sure Resolve does this, where it just renders in the background while you're working. You know,
Right.
So when you export it, it exports super quickly. You don't have to deal with any of that crap.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like-
because you
it's-
were exporting that Resolve project for us
Yeah.
last week, and it was
And it's like-
crazy fast.
Yeah, it's like,
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, and I could be wrong here, but After Effects also hasn't been written for GPU acceleration from the ground up. They're still,
It still says beta, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, I feel like Premiere at a certain point, they finally switched it to GPU acceleration, so it's actually using all those graphics cards to actually, be able to do 6 layers deep with effects and alpha channels and whatnot. I mean, that's not being rendered, that's being played back.
Yeah.
So I feel like the reason why is because it's tapping into the CUDA, it's tapping into whatever GPU you have in your system, whereas After Effects is still using your CPU and trying to render out those frames and then saving it into a cache
and
file.
no multi-threading. Like,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
ridiculous.
Right.
It's like,
so
you know what? And, you know, Video Copilot's been introducing all this new software. Like Element 3D is
Right.
smoking fast,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh,
And then
God,
you've
yeah.
got this new stuff that he's showing off that we'll talk about next week that looks like it is mega super fast, right? It's like, come on, Andrew Kramer, just create your own After Effects. You know?
honestly,
Yeah.
We'll all use it.
yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yes, I do.
If Andrew ever sees this, he's gonna be,
Chad wants to say something.
you
Hold on, Chad.
jerks.
We're gonna call you. We're gonna call you.
Oh yeah. We gotta. This will be interesting. I've never tried to dial a phone number through Skype like this, so we'll see if we can get Chad in here. I really want to hear what he has to say about this whole thing.
See,
You
Chad.
gotta send it to me though.
Oh, Chad, why don't I guess I never saved your phone number.
I just imagine Chad like kicking down his chair, like, "Oh man, I need to step in here. I need to talk to these guys. I got some things to say. I can't wait."
All
Yeah,
right,
I
you
know.
guys keep talking. I'll get it.
Okay. Yeah, send it to me. So, while we're working that out, there's two different topics I wanted to talk about today, as well as the algorithmic thing. And the first one is from Dan Marino.
Dan Marino.
And he says, how many of you take double bookings when working remotely? And I guess this has a lot to do with the fact that if you're working as like a single contractor, then it's...
There you go, Dave. I just sent it
Oh,
to
you
you.
did? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, okay, so we'll just get back to that one, I guess. Okay. We'll just do a marker and we'll cut this all out.
Yeah.
Okay. Copying. It's going to take me a second here.
Don't
Marker.
type it in to where anyone can see this.
I know. I'm not.
Everyone's gonna start calling Chad.
Yeah.
Just flood.
Let's see if this works.
Right.
I have no idea right now. Good thing I have Skype credits.
Right?
Yeah. We won't have video, so we'll just leave this set up as is right here.
Oh. There he is.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's cold.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
I bet.
heard.
Yeah.
I'm actually at my daughter's school picking her up, so she's gonna jump in the car and wonder what the hell I'm doing.
Oh, that's so
funny.
good.
So what are your thoughts?
How awesome is technology?
I know.
Yeah, I mean, we're still talking about algorithmic, right?
Yes.
The topic,
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know. So when I heard the news, I was a bit heartbroken, and I know that sounds like, oh, jaded, cynical, whatever, but anytime a large company purchases a very sort of small, upcoming company that's really making a lot of great headway, breaking a lot of new ground, doing a lot of really interesting new things, it sort of makes me a little bit sad, because I know that it's going to be a lot harder in the new climate to iterate and move quickly and pivot fast the way that a small company can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
that's
there's a
crucial.
whole lot more bureaucracy you
That's
got to
like
deal
super
with.
crucial. All right, hold on one sec. My daughter's about to get in the car. Hold on one second. Sorry about this.
You better not be using your phone in a school
Hey,
zone, dude.
So
Yeah, it better be on speaker.
I'm on a podcast right now, just so you know. Full disclosure. So you just got to be quiet for 10 minutes.
So good.
All right, so yeah, so when you have a company like that, and like, let's be honest, like, Algorithmic is doing some of the most innovative stuff I've seen in a really long time. Not to say that won't continue. Like, funding is great, having money is great, but when you have to go through the approvals of some big company like Autodesk or Adobe, it definitely slows things down, which it sort of makes me a little sad. The only reason, and then the other reason that I was a little sad was that you have to sort of look at it from something that's not a motion design perspective. So we all know our perspective, and the majority of people that you ask, they might be like, oh, this might be okay, it'll be part of my subscription, that's cool. Like, these are all good things. But look at it from the majority of users that are using subs. If you hang out on their Discord like I do, they're almost all game artists. And none of the press releases press releases that were released mentioned game art or mentioned the game industry that much, if at all. I would challenge you to find like a solid paragraph about it. So I think you saw a lot of artists there that make their living using Substance and not feeling represented. And there was like some red shirt guy moments on their Discord, and it was pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm excited that they're going to have a huge influx of cash and have the budget to hire a lot more people. But here's what I want to know what you guys think. So if you look at what happened and man, the guy's name is totally slipping my mind, but he was named like head of 3D at Adobe. So what if, this is a big what if, I'm reaching here, keep that in mind. I kind of think that they enticed him with this deal and sort of said, okay, listen, we want to acquire Algorithmic. We've been on your board for a while. We've been helping you steer the company. What do you think? And he was probably like, well, I really want the next big thing. I want the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they said, okay, we want you to develop a 3D application for us.
Mm-hmm.
You've already got a pretty good foundation. Why not come with us, take it the rest of the way, and design a 3D application for Adobe? So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that might be happening.
I'll completely agree. But I knowing Adobe's history, I feel like they would be more likely to gobble up someone else and try and make it an Adobe product. Because if you look at all their stuff, from the very beginning, Flash, Adobe Audition, all of this stuff, they were previously other projects,
right?
That Adobe just bought.
I totally get it. But think about it. If they were going to do that, if they were just going to purchase Substance and get all the tech and just like throw it into the Creative Suite and just let it sit there and collect dust, I would totally agree with you. But the fact that they gave him that position and the fact that this guy is a force, man, like he is definitely a force to be reckoned with. He is an innovator, and I think that this is a challenge. This could be a challenge for him. Like, if given the money and the time, could he develop an application, a 3D application for Adobe?
It would definitely be interesting to see, but like I don't think Adobe innovates like that. I don't
disagree with you there.
I think Adobe is more of a buy and supply, like they're going to buy up a company and then they're going to add it to their stuff. And then they're going to say, okay, well, this is what users say. So you guys need to do this.
Do you think that it would be something more rudimentary if it were, at least to start out?
And the thing is, do you really think they're going to, I think, yeah. So that's a really good point, Dave. Like, take, for example, Element 3D. Element 3D is super awesome, and it's great for bringing in assets and texturing stuff and like doing it super quickly. If Adobe bought something like Element 3D, or bought Video Copilot, I mean, I could see that happening. But Adobe's own 3D.
Well, think about Substance. It's really not. It's not that far from a 3D program right now.
Yeah.
It's got the OpenGL. The only thing I would argue that it's missing is probably animation, which I had no idea how complex that would be to add. But it has.
You can't model in it either.
No, but I mean that's all. This guy wrote AI to iterate on shaders. I'm pretty sure he can figure out how to model or program for modeling.
Okay.
I don't think it would be a huge deal. Listen, their track record speaks for itself. They just acquire. They don't necessarily do a lot of homegrown stuff. But I don't know. I think the fact that they gave this guy a pretty hefty title could mean that maybe 2 or 3 years down the road we're going to start to see something.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. And I just hope they don't split it off into like different tiers of, payments and stuff. Here's your 3D stuff. This one's going to be $200 a month or something.
Yeah, you can only get After Effects on the highest tier, of course.
Right. So cool.
Well, guys, thanks for letting me jump in. I don't want to hijack your
No,
show.
you're all good. That was fun.
Always fun hearing from you.
All right, guys. Well, have a good one. I'll see you on the chat.
Yeah, right. See you at NAB.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right. Bye.
That was fun.
All right.
I have slowly lost faith in Adobe. I used to be a Adobe fanboy, like crazy. After Effects was my jam, and anytime someone spoke poorly of After Effects, I was up in arms,
Right.
But I will
fight.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, it's something like Billy said earlier, the thing that they updated from 2014 to 15. What was it? Oh, geez. It was, they changed the RAM preview to spacebar instead of circle or zero,
I still mess that
or
up.
enter or whatever.
I still mess that up to this
It's
day.
like,
you can switch it back and forth. I use both.
I know.
Actually, I'm a big, I actually like that because if I want to preview full quality, I use spacebar. And if I want to do the quick view, skipping frames and lower res, I use 0. I have them both set separately. I actually like
that's
that.
smart. That's efficient.
Yeah.
I don't. I just hit spacebar, and I've always hit spacebar.
Dave is a smarter out of the three of us.
No, I like that because, sometimes you just want to make sure that something works and you don't need to see it full res. You just want to make sure that the keyframes look correct or whatever. Sometimes you need to see that high res, but we'll see where that goes.
We'll see.
Let's get back to some of these other questions. We have a lot of questions today. Dan Marino. Is Dan Marino going to be in the Super Bowl Sunday? We'll see.
The laces were in.
So, let's talk about double bookings because when you're a contractor, you tend to not, I guess, depending on how used to this you are, but you tend to not take double booking. If you have something really big you got to work on that week, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to be available for anything else. But if you're presenting yourself as a company, then you kind of have to be able to take whatever comes at you and distribute it, whether it's do it yourself, work double hours that day, or whatever it is. He's asking, do you do this? And we definitely do.
Yeah. Here's the thing the big difference. So we may have multiple jobs going on at once. It's all, and you have to be able to bide your time by what is most important and whether or not you're getting paid a day rate to do it, hourly or project wise, because those will determine completely different ways to work throughout the day. If it's hourly, then you work on it, and once you're done, you go work on something else. To me, this is just to me. With day rate, they're hiring you for that day. So you are theirs for that whole day. If you're waiting on stuff, cool, you can hop over to something else, but you are theirs for that day. If it's project based, you figure out what needs to be done the soonest, whether it's that project or another project you're working on, and then you just bide your time based off of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
if you have, say, like a project that needs to render, you could get that going, get that rendering on another machine, come back around, start working on After Effects for a different project. It's all up to you how well you use your time.
Absolutely.
And if not, and if you can't do it, then it maybe subcontract out or even just pass it on to a friend. Say, look, I can't handle this project right now. Do you want this?
For 20%. Oh,
boy. That'll be a Monday show thing. That'll be Monday. Sorry, we're not going to talk about that yet. And Dan is in the chat too, so if you have anything else related to that, please feel free to chime in. So
I feel like it's hard enough to try to get work anyway, so it's kind of one of those situations where you take what you can get, and it's really hard to turn away work. So from my perspective, I will accept almost every single job that comes my way.
Yeah.
Even if I don't know how to necessarily do it,
Yep.
we have collectively a team of people that can figure it out.
Mhm.
And for me, it's all about making sure that my family's fed and my friends are fed, and we all can work on a project together. And at the end of the day, walk home and feel like we accomplished something. And a lot of times, accepting those jobs also pushes you to learn something you didn't know before, and then
Absolutely.
now you have something more in your wheelhouse. And I think also accepting multiple jobs at once helps you. It kind of forces you to time manage.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have one project,
I like what you said about picking up, being able to learn more stuff. If you're picking up jobs that you don't necessarily know, but it's like, okay, I now know how to do this.
Right.
I can add this to my repertoire. I can add, that stuff to my reel, and then I can start charging more, because what I know is exponentially more now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It just helps you grow as a person and as an artist and, business owner. Or however you want to.
The thing is, like, we are such a close-knit community, and it's like you can figure out basically how much you can handle. And if you need to outsource it to one of your friends, or, someone who you've worked with, it's like, okay, I need you to handle this. I need someone who's free. And, then you can throw it over to them, because it's not like you won't necessarily be losing out of the business, because you'll still be able to keep that client. Right. You're just you're art directing. You're being that middleman. Yeah. And you may not make money off of it, or you may make 20%. But
but you're still you're still keeping your client, and they don't know really the difference. Because if you say, well, I'm not available right now, they might go somewhere else, and they might all of a sudden just keep going with that person.
Right. We don't ever turn down work, because we know that we have enough resources and friends that we could call up in a heartbeat and say, hey, we need help. You got some free time? And any one of them will be like, yeah, dude, let's make some money.
And you have to kind of keep track of that sometimes, because like I feel like sometimes we do get clients who, let's say like David Ariev throws something over to us, right? And then all of a sudden, like, that person is calling us up the next time. I've checked with David and been like, is he calling you first and you're not available? Because I don't want to be like taking this person away. So I want to make sure that, like, and usually Dave's like, dude, I'm so like in these giant space projects that is totally fine. But I like to check in sometimes. Sometimes I forget too, because I forget where a client comes from. You work with them a few times and you're like, oh wait, this is David's client. Let me double check this. That's kind of a difficult thing, because you don't want to accidentally step on toes.
To call on that,
make sure that they want their 20%.
I actually have a spreadsheet that I use, and anytime I get a client, I jot down exactly where that client came from.
That's smart.
That's super smart. And I do that specifically for that reason, based off of what Dave just said. I have a handful of projects that I have gotten from friends. So I know, okay, I got this from Dave, I got this from Matt. So that's my hierarchy. I'm now your artist. I'm helping you out, but you're the main source of contact. So if a client ever skips you guys and gets to me, I always refer back to that sheet and say, okay, well, let me get back to you on this one, and then I immediately call whoever the original source was for that client. And that's for multiple reasons. That's a level of respect that I feel like we should all have with one another, and also it's just being honest to the fact that this isn't something that you brought to the table. It's something that this is your client that you guys brought to me, and then vice versa. I would expect the same thing the other way, and I feel like that just kind of helps. It also helps a client have one source of contact, as opposed to trying to hunt down and interface with multiple different personalities and multiple different people. It's just one person that they can interface with and get answers from, and then from that point, that person is project managing the whole thing. Because a lot of times clients don't want to deal with multiple people. That's why they're going to one agency or one creative director or one project manager. They don't want to deal with a bunch of people. Yeah. So making that as easy for the client as possible, I think, is our job.
Also, there's a big difference between portraying yourself as an individual who's just freelancing and portraying yourself as a company.
Very much so.
Because I forgot where I was going with this.
Well, we don't really like we say yes to just about everything.
Yeah.
No matter, like, if they call Matt and ask, or if they call me and ask, then we ask each other, look, this thing just came in. I'm super swamped with like these other projects. Can you take this one? Yeah. It's nice to have two people. Or
the other thing is, if you're portraying yourself as a company, you've got all these freelancers on call and stuff, but you could very easily say, well, we've got this big project, but I've got one of my artists I can get on this,
Right. One of my
and that
guys.
Just means, that just means I'm gonna call one of my friends and I'm gonna have them work on this,
We're gonna take care of you.
But we're going to take care of you. Absolutely. Yeah. So it portrays yourself as more professional. You're running a company, you've got employees and stuff like that, and I've done that several times.
Attached to contractor, which means you live in your parents' basement.
Yes. Which is okay.
Which is
okay.
Which is fine. But that's what a lot of people think.
I did that for 2 years.
Yeah. Mom, bathroom.
You never know what she's doing up there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Dan Marino said there's the freelance manifesto has a great spreadsheet for that. And we do that. We have a spreadsheet that's based off the spreadsheet freelance manifesto. And we have that too. We have the names of the individual clients, where they came from, and what we've done for them. You have to sometimes. I mean, we're at the point to where we have to put a little note in. Sometimes it's like, wait, who is this?
Yeah,
it's
right.
Hey guys, remember this project we did? It was really fun. No, I don't.
Yeah, they'll get back to you after 2 years and want something else, and like you kind of sometimes have to remind yourself. So you have to write down those notes.
I used to work at this place. Like, it was where we didn't have a server or anything. It was a really crappy place, and so we would keep people's projects for like a couple of months or something, and then we'd just delete them. We wouldn't back them up at all.
I just got anxiety from that.
Don't worry. Like, the thing is, like, it was like Kinko's for video, right?
Okay, got it.
So it was just mom and pop stuff. But like, we had a few big clients. And it's like, well, he always saw it, the boss always saw it as, well, it's not our job to back up your stuff. Plus, this was when hard drives were relatively inexpensive or relatively expensive,
Right.
Like you'd pay $400 or $500 for a 1 terabyte drive,
Yeah.
So
people used to charge for saving projects.
Exactly. Yeah. And we used to,
but not now.
We always had it to where, it always seemed like anytime we would delete their files, they would call us the next day.
Like clockwork.
So anytime we wanted to bring in work, we would delete someone big's files.
Right.
Like, we haven't heard from this client for a while. Delete.
Yeah.
Ring, ring.
Ring. Yep.
Like getting your car washed right before it starts raining. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So, how does your setup work? Like, tell us about basically like what you do. What's your setup? Do you have any partners? Like, what's your day-to-day like?
My day-to-day is like, are you asking from a company standpoint, or are you asking like physically, like
from a company standpoint,
like that?
How are you set up, and what, like, do you have business partners? Is it just you? You have an office?
I have an office. This is my office. Since I do have a DSLR, maybe I could rip it off and give you guys a tour at the end of all this.
Okay.
But yeah, I have an office, and I have an S corp that I put my company under.
Yeah.
And I pay myself a salary. So every single month, on the first of the month, I get a paycheck from ADP. And that gets deposited to my my joint account that basically runs my family. So my wife gets it, and that takes care of bills, mortgage, taking care of the kids, all that stuff. And then my company, I have a company credit card, and all company expenses go on that. And I don't have any partners. It is just me. I have various different ventures.
That's smart. Partners suck.
Yeah, it makes it really complicated. But I personally actually I don't have a partner currently, but I am about to partner up with one of my buddies who he designs trade shows and big activations, cool. which is actually who is helping me create the Maxon booth. So my game plan is to move my studio to his facility, and we're basically going to team up.
Are you going to be joining, like, partnership wise? Are you going to be joining the companies, or are you both going to be under an umbrella? What are you going to do?
So it's going to be two things. One, we're also going to be developing a separate company, and it's for essentially event production. So it's going to be, it'd be nice if we can tackle, the next Max Bash, where we take care of everything from soup to nuts, from start to finish, and taking care. It's basically going to become an agency where we are a one-stop shop for all branding for a company. Right. So if you want advertising, if you want motion graphics, if you want logo design, if you want activations, if you want events being thrown, we could take care of that. And we've worked with large enough clients to where we can take those clients and ask them to trust us, without having them try to put faith in us. We have a track record of clients we've worked with. So it made sense to kind of team up together, because he's got a set of clients, I've got a set of clients, both of them reputable, to the point where we can start to tackle more of the business under one umbrella, because essentially that's what agencies are. Agencies are one location. That's how they start. It's one location gets hit up, and one agency gets hit up, and that agency outsources all aspects, whether it be a commercial, whether it be an activation, whether it be a party, whether it be an event. It doesn't matter. So essentially, that's my next step, is to create an agency that can house really all of us. And at that point, if anybody needs any work done, we can take care of it collectively. And I'm all about the collective, as opposed to the hierarchy of boss and employee and all that stuff. That doesn't make sense to me. It's just more. It needs to be more organic in this day and age in a creative world. I believe there are aspects of that work that have to work in that hierarchical method. In if you have an accounting firm, yes, all right, cool, you have a boss. That boss tells you what to do and all that stuff, right? But we're all in creative space, so I feel like it needs to be collaborative, and that's my next step. And to answer your question, kind of in a nice, quick way, I have a company. It's an S corp. And I don't have a partner currently, but I do have different business ventures, and putting them all under a bigger umbrella makes more sense while still keeping our separate companies.
Yeah. So what have you, and obviously only the things you could say, but what have you been working on recently?
I just finished designing all the content for, this is the third year I've done it, for Pioneer DJ, which is,
You presented on that last year at NVIDIA,
I did,
right?
Yeah, I presented that. And
really good,
thanks,
really good presentation. Thank
you, I appreciate that. It's Dan. I'm an experienced activation designer. I'll hit you up. Awesome, rad. So yeah, I just did 4 additional scenes for this year. And prior years, so just to kind of give a preface for people that don't know what it is. So Pioneer DJ every year for NAMM, which is the music convention, they have this big, huge booth that has 11 LED screens surrounding it. Jeez. And I create all the content that goes in those screens. And that content can be anything from putting people into a space scene or a pirate ship or, a underwater cavern or something along those lines. So this year I created 4 additional scenes: an Arctic scene that puts us in this snow blizzard environment, I did a robotic mech scene where I just basically had like the whole front stage look like a robot face.
That's cool.
And then a bunch of robots surrounding us. And then I did a really cool utopian futuristic Pioneer city with Pioneer logos all over the place. And
it's going to be utopian in the future.
I did pitch destruction.
Right. Okay.
And they told me
dystopian.
Right. Like, yeah. No. We need it to be utopian and happy and
because everyone's using Pioneer, right?
Exactly. But I got to give David a lot of credit for that, because if it wasn't for his tutorial on how to build some of those cities and the randomizing and all that stuff, I wouldn't have been able to execute that whole city scene. So this is my formal thanks, and if I ever see you in person, I'll give you a high five and a hug. So I appreciate that.
NAB, dude.
No, yeah. That's my reason to go right there.
Right.
And then you also, when you're done with this, you also do like a VR interactive version of what you created. So it's like
correct.
A virtual version of what you created for the actual setup.
Exactly. So I have an Insta360 Pro. It's a 360 camera, and I bring it to the booth on the last day before we start tearing everything down. And I basically set it up in the middle of the booth, and I press record. And this year, I was able to shoot it in 3D VR. So if you actually have VR goggles on, or any of those like little headsets or cardboard or whatever, you slap that on there, and you can actually see it in 3D. I recorded it with people actually in the booth, and I recorded it clean. So
are you able to do like the parallax with it then? So if you move your head left and right, do you get a little bit of that, or is it just like
yeah, you don't get parallax. It's just literally you put on goggles, everything will feel 3D, and it's got head tracking, so you can look around and all that stuff, and the entire environment. It's really the only way to show people a physical space after it's been after it's been completed.
Yeah.
And then I just finished working on that. Now I'm continuing to work on my my AR app. I have a game that we're going to be releasing pretty soon, based off of the Bloody Mary folklore.
Oh,
and
nice.
Literally, it should be a fun one, because you literally turn off all the lights in your house, and your phone is the only source of light, and it's a flashlight. The LED on your light is the only thing illuminating your environment, and then you have all these things happening around your house, and we're doing stuff like we're like tapping into like Philips Hue and like having lights flicker on and off.
Oh, snap. That's cool.
So that's my other venture that I've been working on since last January. So this should be fun.
Does it have voice recognition? Because you have to say Bloody Mary 3 times before.
It does. In fact, it does.
Nice.
So in the beginning, to start the experience, you have to say Bloody Mary 3 times.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
Then it transports you into like this 360 void that I created, and it's basically a dark void of hundreds of mirrors, and it's got fluid dynamics of fog all over the ground. And I used Flux to do a lot of the effects in the 360 environment above us. And you can look all around, and you have all these mirrors, and each one of the mirrors has a video file playing back in the mirror of somebody that Bloody Mary's seeing. So it could be someone brushing their teeth, or it could be, and then you see these two girls say Bloody Mary, and the second they say Bloody Mary, all the mirrors turn black and focuses on that one mirror. And then that starts your experience. So it's
fun.
Sweet.
Fun.
That's sweet.
And did you say, is that an iPhone or is that a VR game?
It's an iPhone. It's going to be on iOS, and we iOS and Android actually. But cool. Apple said that they hopefully, fingers crossed, but Apple did say that they're going to try to feature us on the front page.
Yeah, dude.
And it's
yeah.
I just I'm not holding my breath on this one. This could be a total flop, and no one will ever see this game. I get like 3 downloads, but I don't know. We'll see. It's still not going to stop me from creating some fun stuff.
Good.
Because that's the fun part for me. Is the creation process.
And along the lines of having a partner or somebody to work with, that kind of collaboration is the real collaboration. And a subject that came up this week was, I think it was how do you say it? Lubomir was commenting and said, you know, if somebody comes to you and says, I'd like to collaborate, it's like, well, exactly what does that mean, right? And I like Sage's comment because in this particular example, someone came as an artist, a musician, and came to this person on Slack and said, oh, yeah, I would like to collaborate you with on that. And, of course, everybody's like, well, collaborate equals free work, right? Yeah. And the thing Sage said was, so if somebody comes to you and says they want to collaborate, it's like, well, do you have input on their music? You know? And what they do with their music? Because that is actual collaboration. But that whole thing where someone's like, oh, I'd like to collaborate with you. It means, no, that means I want to put your stuff on my website and feature it and then get a bunch of work from it that you probably won't ever see any profit from. But that kind of collaboration with multiple people in the same, that's the kind of collaboration that's real collaboration. Yeah.
And that's what that's the only type of collaboration that I'm willing to put effort into. I won't use the word collaboration if there isn't a number associated with that at the end of it, if that makes any sense. If it's not feeding everybody and putting food on everyone's table and feeding their families, it's not worth moving forward. And I get there's a lot of aspects in this industry where we do have to invest sweat equity, right? Yeah. Where there's clients that we may believe in, and there's projects that we may believe in, and we'll pour in the time. But what I don't think is right is when you ask of other people to do the same sacrifices that you're willing to do. If you're willing to sacrifice your blood, sweat, and tears to get a project done, and do it with just sweat equity, then by all means do it. But I think it's crossing a line when you're asking other people to do it with you. Yeah. If they want to do it and they volunteer it, awesome. But just make sure and you remember that they did that and they made those sacrifices. And you make sure if you can't get that project to be profitable and put food on their table and help them out, then you better find something that does. Because I think that's where a lot of artists get burned. Me included in the past, like I know all of us have, where even Dave, I've had a conversation about that, but we've all been burned by that promise. And I think it's really important as artists to be mindful of that and pick and choose your ventures wisely, and not do it, not ever do it out of desperation. And I know that's really hard for all of us to say because we've all been in those desperate times. So never pick a project out of desperation. Pick one because it's something you really want to do and you believe in, or you can have fun with, or it pays, Yeah. But don't ever do a project out of desperation, because I think that's when you get taken advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're working hard to put food on your family.
Exactly.
Let's move to some links real quick, and then we have some other topics that we're going to come back around to because we got a lot of emails this week. Cool. These links are pretty good this week. The first one, I don't know if you'll have seen this, but this is a new creepy deepfakes video that came out. It's
sorry,
Jennifer
Patrick,
Lawrence.
I'm going to call you out on this, but he sent it to me, my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And he said, is it weird that I'm like slightly turned on by this?
Oh, no.
This is Jennifer Lawrence answering questions just on stage about whatever, but it's deep fakes with Steve Buscemi's face. So it is the weirdest thing, and it looks so good. It's so realistic.
I just clicked on this link for the first time. I did not prepare myself at all for this. And I'm so glad I didn't prepare myself for this, because this is...
It's so well done. It's so well done. It's so good.
Oh.
So that's
yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
Deepfake stuff is so cool. Like I still haven't really like tried one myself, but it would be fun to do. I know it's a little bit of work to get it going, but the results are ridiculous.
Oh my god, this is so haunting.
Also,
right?
Mesmerizing at the same time.
Right,
I can't not look.
Also, Escher Falls. This is Houdini
Mark. Houdini Mark. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
And this
like
is
I literally
series.
just watched it. For like I'd get lost in it watching it. But if you're on Instagram, check out. Is it what's Mark's Instagram name? His
Instagram name? I'm not sure. We'll have to.
I'll find it.
You look that up.
Yeah.
And...
it's Mark Fancher. Mark Fancher FX.
Okay.
So he just did this like super awesome. It's like a MC Escher-esque of the stairs or whatever.
My favorite DJ.
It's funny, but it's liquid pooling down the thing, and it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
that's
so
beautiful.
Good. Yeah, Daniel asks where are these links. They'll be posted in the show notes once we post the episode. PauseFest 2019 opening titles. These are very cool looking. It's that'll be in the show notes as well. Ivy Taming 1.0 teaser. This is a Houdini thing, but it's something that will grow Ivy and not have any intersections and all of that. It's a teaser though. It's not out yet. Also, Sakani Solomon did a lift spot, or I don't know if it was a commercial, if it was an online thing or what it was, but it's called Big Bang. You have to check that out. I thought I saw 2 people that did something for Lyft this week. I don't know if they were both Sakani. They might have been. And then I haven't had a chance to listen to this yet, but David Ariev was interviewed on a motion graphics podcast. What's the name of it? I lost the name. Ukramedia.com, UKRAmedia.com. From neuroscience to motion graphics, David Ariev, and it's got him pre-haircut.
Yeah, right.
But I'm gonna be checking that out later today. I gotta drive.
Octane Jesus instead of
Octane Samson.
Octane Samson.
Octane Samson.
Let's see. Okay, Calvary. This is
Cavalry.
Yes.
Cavalry. Is it Calvary or Cavalry?
Cavalry.
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 Calgary.
Samsonite?
Calvary. Samsonite. I was way off.
I was way off.
There's a new possible After Effects competitor thingy coming out. It looks interesting.
It's made by if I understand this correctly, it has been developed at Mainframe in the UK. So like I think this is internally what they've been building. So if you know a big studio like this is actually like behind the development, it's like you've got real artists actually working on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no kidding.
So yeah.
You read more into it than I did. You kind of went down. What is the
okay?
main...
So the biggest thing, like it looks very similar to After Effects. You know, the UI and everything looks very similar. But what's interesting about it is much like, and what interests me the most, it's something that I wish After Effects had, and it was these it's like cinema's deformers, you know, where basically you can add a deformer to a layer, like a noise, you know, or something, and then just have it manipulate it that way. Or you can add a cloner or something like that. It's very, very cool. It looks super cool, and I'm very excited to see what happens with it.
I'm interested in how the layering system would work.
I mean, it looks to me like it's like After Effects, where you've got one on top of the next, on top of the next.
You know, back in the day when I was just kind of getting back into like 2D stuff and I was working with like Apple Motion, the one thing that I really liked that Apple Motion did is that you could nest layers, and it was really simple. You just pulled them over to the right a little bit, and then you could nest the whole layer, and that would control everything. It seems so simple, and everyone is like, "Oh, you can just pre-comp," but pre-comping sucks.
you need EJ's plugin. Do you know EJ's plugin?
No.
Oh, let me find it, dude.
I don't know about this. What is all this? What's all this then?
see.
Sorry, it's UK, rubbing off on me.
All right.
Go hit
Quite all right. Quite all right.
Let's see. It's called Sort It.
Sort it.
Sort It. Yeah, it's only $29.
Oh man.
EJ, you crazy son of a bitch.
Yeah,
EJ.
but basically you can organize stuff into layers, where you don't have to pre-comp stuff, and then it all shows up in an individual, kind of like layers in C4D,
Well, I need to get on that. I'm gonna text
Yeah, you
EJ.
do.
You're
Yeah, I know,
"Yo,
right?
dog.
Because every time we try and buy something from him, he's like, "No, dude, you don't have to pay for it. Just take it."
Yeah, we buy it, and then he texts us. He's like, "Man, why did you buy that?" All right, I'm gonna legit ask him for a copy this time.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
that looks amazing.
I know, it's very cool. iDesign.com/product/sort-it-4.
And you can also find Brograph Luminous on his site as well. Actually,
Yes.
go buy it from us directly.
Yeah.
All
right.
So,
EJ, what a good dude. I like that dude. I like
Yeah,
EJ
he's
a lot.
great.
oh yeah, our group texts between me and Matt and David and EJ on a daily basis are ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I love it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, some other quick links here that I've got. Jules Urbach just happened to say the other day on the Octane Facebook group, out of core geometry plus textures while rendering on RT cores is looking viable with the new update to Scene AI, which added fast OOC geometry in V4 plus fast NVLink in version 2018.1 #RTX. I'll let you sort that. I'll let you process that. You might have to rewind 30
No,
seconds.
I got it.
Coming
Really?
along, in other words.
NVLink, huh?
Yeah.
Finally.
I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in the RTX stuff. I'll believe it when I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Nvidia stock took a dump this past week, didn't they? Because of
It
really
did.
bad. Yeah.
It's the same thing that happened to Apple. Is basically they came in and said the numbers that we predicted are coming in lower than expected, and it's just I don't know. I think it's just a minor thing. I think it's going to come back. I really don't feel like Nvidia is going to take a dump for that or anything. Maybe for a day it kind of took a hit, but I mean they're doing fairly well. I got EJ's text here. You gonna read it?
I said, yo, can we have Sort It? And he said, screw you guys, no. Okay.
Ask him if Sabor can. I'll trade him Sort It for Whistle Pig whiskey.
Oh, that's a pretty good deal right there.
Yeah.
Actually, that's
Actually,
that
I
costs
just lost
more
on
than
that.
the plugin
I just lost on
itself. So
I just lost on that deal, but I'll still do it.
yeah. Well, the Whistle Pig is the only bottle that is wide enough to get a quarter through the nozzle. So like through the opening. So when you finish it, you can use it as a piggy bank, and then you can save more money for more plugins.
I like it. That was well played. Well played string of thought.
I mean, it is kind of cool because it's Whistle Pig and it's a piggy bank, right? I mean, what better
I like
bottle
it.
for that,
I'm trading.
Let's see.
Oh, sorry. All right. I got to get off
Group
my phone.
text during the show.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So Chris Harkin, who won the X Particles challenge with that really cool looking deal with the kind of toonish looking explosion on it and everything, he has released his source. If you'd like to look at that project and check it out,
that's
so there'll
awesome.
be a link to that in the show notes. Also, Nitro Veins. This is looking pretty cool. Matt, you posted this actually, or you put this
I did.
in your notes.
It's so it's done by I believe it's the same guy who does like Nitro 4D and Hot 4D and stuff
4D.
like that.
Nitro Man.
Yeah, Nitro Man. But basically it's a way to draw on like vines and veins and stuff like that, so you can connect one to the next. Very cool. And then you've also got sliders where you can have them grow, so you could create this whole set of veins or like this whole set of vines on something and then have it grow with just a slider. Very cool. Super cool looking stuff.
Yeah,
That's
because
awesome.
you know what it's like if you're trying to do that yourself and you're trying to draw
Awful.
each individual
Yeah.
spline.
Yeah, or
and,
I would use. I had to use. I did this for a project for our one of our projection mapping projects where I had vines grow all over, and what I had to do was I used X particles and XP
Right.
branching and stuff like that in order to do that, and then have it sweep on, which was, it looked great. It looked great. Don't get me wrong,
yeah.
but man, it was a
It's
lot
a
of
setup.
work.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Setup.
versus being able to I like this because you can easily art direct, how you want the vines or veins to look.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I'm laughing. EJ just texted me back.
yeah, yeah, he just sent it to us.
Yeah.
Daniel
Love
said, now I thought RTX was going to help render times in Redshift, Octane, etc. Once it was included. Am I wrong? It is, once they get it working.
Yeah.
But right now, it's not really set up for that. That stuff's still in development.
Now,
So it works with those cards, but it doesn't work to its full potential yet.
So Dave, let me ask you a question with regards to the RTX and version 4. I know that there's an update like version 4.0.2 or something like that. I saw in the release log that the RTX cores are being utilized now. Am I wrong with that? Did I misread that?
I don't believe so. Chad says Arnold GPU is the only one utilizing RTX properly,
As far as he knows.
as far as he knows. Though they're
Which
all
I-
working
yeah.
on it. But that's
And
funny
Nvidia
because
is
that's the only
working
one
on it,
that's
yeah.
not released.
Right.
But
I mean, if you're gonna release it, why would you release it on older technology and stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that makes perfect sense. Might as well come out the gate with it. But
Right.
no, it's all still being worked on as far as I know. And then David Ariev actually mentioned this the other day. I didn't realize that there was light linking stuff going on with Octane already.
Yeah, that's been around for a while.
I guess I completely missed that.
Yeah, I think it's been around since 3.8.
Oh, geez. I
Yeah.
should probably
Explain that
pay
to
more
me.
attention.
Light linking, basically, you can say you want these particular lights to not show up in reflections and certain reflections or
yeah.
certain
Yeah. Okay.
It's cool.
I mean, I knew about the shadows and all of that, but
Mhm.
yeah. All right. So, and also Hot4D, speaking of Nitro, Hot4D has an update for R20 now as well, because it wasn't working with R20
Yes.
before.
Yeah, he just updated. Yeah,
I guess it had some coffee
Hot4D.
stuff in it or something, so
probably. Yeah.
probably. And, okay, this I know nothing about. You posted this in the links as well. F-Spy, an open-source
Ooh.
cross-platform app for still image camera matching.
Ooh.
What's all this then?
Yeah. Okay. So I actually presented this at NAB a few years ago, where it was, I was showing how to match your camera based off
Right.
of a still image or something like that. Well, I was watching Blender Guru, Andrew Price, his new tutorial that he put out, where it's all about doing an interior scene, and he took a picture from Pinterest and needed to match up the camera. Well, this what's it called again? F-Storm?
F-Spy?
It's not F-Storm. It's
F-Spy.
F-Spy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's free software. It's open source. And basically what you do is you can set up your X, Y, and Z coordinates just similar to the way you would in cinema, and it'll give you an exact camera position or camera what focal point and what lens and everything that you used. It's very cool. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Cool.
So, and it's free, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what it was shot on or whatever, you could take a still frame from it and then boom, you're good to go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got some emails and stuff to do. Before we do that, though, let's do a little bit of Beeple's People.
Yay.
Okay. Everybody open up your Beeple viewer of choice. I'm using Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're going to go to January 21st, year of our Lord 2019. This one is called Generation Y3K. Bring it up here on the dingus so everybody can see it. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh yeah. Didn't we do this one already?
Did we?
I
don't
don't
think
know.
we did. I don't think so. This has an animated
I could be
one.
wrong.
Now, I like these people in the back, first of all. Of course, that's what I noticed. The people in the back, they look like the people with the screens from Willy Wonka. You know, when they're in that little clean room doing the shrinking and the expanding of the chocolates.
Right.
There is also an animated version of this, which is
Maybe
a
I was
little bit
thinking of the
different.
animated version.
The
I like
animated version has different stuff in the back, like on the wall. There's like what is it? This is like Amazon fulfillment.
Oh really?
Amazon giant fetus fulfillment center.
Oh my god, that's so good.
That's funny.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm guessing that these are fetuses for the big people's people.
Of course. I mean, they turn into big people's people.
Yeah, giant feet. Now, see, that's a little clue to me because if it's giant fulfillment center, it's not necessarily saying that the other people are little. So now we know that the little people's people are actually human size. If that makes sense. So the bigger people, because you don't know like which one is like regular human size. Is it regular human size with small people, or is it regular human size are the small people with big giant people? Does that make sense?
Yes.
You don't know. So I think that's kind of a clue now that we know that the little people's people are actually regular size.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Giant fetus.
Mm-hmm. And what is this giant fetus for? I've got no idea.
It's growing into a big people.
Well, why is it walking?
Because how are you going to carry a big giant fetus baby?
I don't know, crane?
It's relocating it to the fetus sorting facility.
Ah.
So this is simply a transport, much like in the Matrix where you have the location for all the pods.
Right, gotcha.
This is now taking it to the Amazon fetus
to the local fulfillment center. Yeah.
Right.
To distribute said large babies.
This fetus has almost outgrown its surroundings, so they're then having to transfer it to a bigger one.
Right.
Aha. So what you're saying is they have thus created one fetus that has been too large to contain. And they built a robot just specifically to transport said fetus.
Of course.
Right, because if you have them in the fulfillment centers, then you can get them on Prime Now, straight to like 2-hour delivery. No fetus can beat us.
Oh.
No. Oh man,
so fired.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
All right, let's move on to January 24th. This is called Electric City. 24th. Actually, I might be wrong. I think it's the 25th. I don't know why I thought it was the 24th.
Electric Avenue.
This is
in Electric City. There we go. Yeah.
Okay. All right. There's okay, this is Japanese, I guess. Okay. Written on all of this stuff, so this would be maybe in Japan. It says 98 Celsius. That's pretty hot.
That is
says?
almost boiling.
Yeah, that's pretty hot. Electric City, so it's all of these little shipping containers and cranes. You can see some people up at the top. You've got power lines. I'm trying to figure out, is this kind of like what they do in the future in order to house people?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
How do they stack these without them falling? That's my question.
Well, you ever played Jenga?
Right?
Well, true.
No, that's what the wires are for.
Oh, the wires.
There are wires at the base.
Yes.
That are keeping the foundation steady.
Yes.
And potentially adjusting said foundation.
I see.
To any type of wind that may be blowing on the top.
So it counterbalances stuff as it's going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
It's all about the base.
It's all about the base.
It's all about the base. All your base are belong to people.
All your base are belong to people.
You're so basic. These puns doing anything for you?
No, not at all.
Okay,
Not even in
just
the
checking.
slightest.
I'm just checking. All right, let's go to the next one. January 26th, autopilot. Let's see. Yes, this is an everyday. Okay, here's what's weird. I don't know where the actual everyday is for this one. I just see everyday in motion, so I don't know where the original everyday is for this, but this is cool.
That one is probably the one that we were just looking at.
Yeah, because
you're
we are driving.
Yeah,
You're driving
right.
by it.
It's usually it's a lot more similar to the. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is Electric City, kind of moving around. Man, that is so cool looking.
Yeah,
I love the camera move.
I love the wind.
Do you think that the camera move is the grayscale?
It might be. It could be.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
so
I
rad.
love that. I love the shake, and it's a very wide-angle lens, so you can really see that shake emphasized. And
It's
even
rad.
in the back, you've got these things flying. It almost looks like planes with banners behind them. I can't tell.
Oh yeah.
Or,
Are
no,
they
actually,
planes with banners?
those are
Or they
transport
Seeker
ships.
they're okay. Yeah, they are transport ships. You're right. It's a little blurry on here, man. Twitter and Instagram, like, it just compresses the crap out of this stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, the
Looks
wind,
good. Looks
that
really
wind
good.
is
The
cool.
wind is really good.
Yeah.
I
that
wonder
looks-
what he used for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So cool. I will say it's interesting though that this guy is not steering.
It's on autopilot, dude. Come on, it's the future.
Why is there even a steering wheel?
That
Gotcha.
is why is there a
don't know.
steering wheel in autopilot cars or whatever? It's just in case the autopilot goes out,
Yeah, I guess so.
right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to steer with autopilot. You're
Right?
just fighting the whole time. Who wants to fight the whole time?
Right.
Yeah. That
Otoy,
and it's
Otoy actually said version. Oh, I lost it. Version 4 is about 25% faster on RTX than 3.08 without using RT cores.
We're seeing RT cores get us about 30% speed boost overall in work in progress build, but some corner cases are nearly 2.5 times faster.
Well-
The NVLink is already working in 2018.1 and will be working with RT cores too. We also have a way to do out-of-core geometry in RT cores.
well. As soon as we got off this, I was going to do my little test and actually put the cards in to the new machine and do like a nice apples to apples comparison to see if
Nice.
we're actually getting a speed increase.
Yeah,
Do it.
because
So,
that was the concern
I'll send you guys a
before.
text.
Was the out of core not working with RT for some reason? But it looks like that's cool. I can't wait to try that because I've got RTX and I'm like, I've done all my benches and so I'm ready to do a comparison.
What do you have
I'm
a
just gonna
2080
stick to my
or-
980 Ti's.
Those
all
are
six
those
of
are
them.
workhorses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are.
What were you saying?
You got 6 of them?
Yeah,
Attaboy.
Yeah.
they make my room real hot.
Yeah, I would not have that door open if all the GPUs are rendering right now,
Yeah.
or a jacket.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, you said you had an RTX. Is it a 20? Is it the 2080
It's a
or
2080. So
Yeah.
2080, 1060, and 1080. So it's pretty good
480.
altogether.
Yeah.
I would like to add a Titan with NVLink.
got it?
Yeah.
Do you have that all in one machine, or do you have it in
multiple
multiple machines?
Yeah, the one with the TIs all stacked up is all like a separate machine. That's Mr. Meeseeks. That's kind of chewing away, and then we've got the 1060 running the monitors and the 2080. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1060 running the monitors, 2080 just doing basic rendering and stuff locally. And then if the other cards are available, like if Matt's not using them for a render or whatever remotely, then I use all of them at once. So
We're gonna set
Gotcha.
up deadline eventually.
Eventually.
yeah,
I
eventually.
should do that next week.
Yeah.
Let me know. Let me know when you guys set up deadline. I'm really curious to see how that works, functions, and whether or not I could muster the courage to switch over to it.
Yeah, man.
Pedro says I have this theory that Jules Urbach is an
I
AI.
saw that.
And Billy
funny.
says he ran a render overnight to keep his room warm in the polar vortex. Hope all you guys are
That's
staying
funny.
warm up there. I mean, you've got
Yeah.
some really
That's good.
efficient renders going, and we know that.
Yeah.
That is
You know,
true.
I was at Costco yesterday and I went into the frozen food section just so I could feel your pain that you guys were going through.
Dude,
And you still couldn't.
Yeah, I saw a video of, I think my dad posted it on Facebook or something. It was in Canada. Dude, I could not believe what it looked like.
It's
Yeah.
My wife actually just texted me this morning. It's the 26 pictures that perfectly capture how insanely cold it is across the U.S. I'll send it to you guys, but
Oh my gosh, no thank you.
This video is like a neighborhood or something. Just, I've never seen anything like it. It looks like a render almost.
Where are the houses?
I know. Like the houses are underneath a lot of this. It's just insane. It looks
How do you
fake.
live through that?
I don't know. I don't know how you live through that. The satellite photos of Michigan were incredible looking. It's like 100 degrees difference between there and here. So just unbelievable.
Nuts.
Stay warm out
that
there.
is nuts. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Random question: do you guys have your machines named something clever?
Yes.
Rick and Morty
Service.
characters.
Yeah.
That's good. I
It's
like it.
let's see, what do we got?
We've got
Noob. We've
Mr.
got
Meeseeks,
Mr. Meeseeks,
Squanchy.
Squanchy. My other one is I named it Snow White because it's the white case, but that has nothing to do with Rick and Morty.
How come you
I like
didn't
it,
name
though.
it like Mr. Poopy Butthole or something?
I thought about it, but it's not yellow, you know.
Yeah.
So
And we
it
actually
originally
matched
was
the
just
colors.
called Octane PC. Yeah.
Just
like,
straight up, just Octane PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Squanchy, my Squanchy is white with orange fans to match Squanchy, and Mr. Meeseeks is all blue.
Yeah.
So they
So
match
good.
the characters.
Yeah.
I like it. I
So.
like it.
All right, well,
Excellent.
let's get to some emails here. I think we have 2 or 3, and we don't have to spend too long on it because I do want to get to our Brograph Recommends segment as well. So, this is Sean Murphy. He said, "Hi, I'd like to use 3D models from 3D Warehouse for non-commercial purposes. Everyday renders for Instagram. It doesn't seem like anyone else does this, or if they do, I've never seen it created to any or credited to any particular artist. The terms of service are a bit confusing. Do you have any advice on using other people's models in general?" And I answered already, and I said, thanks for reaching out. But I think the purpose of 3D Warehouse is for these to be free 3D models.
Right.
And kind of be like open source. And because he was asking about copyright, I'm like, I don't think 3D models can fall under copyright unless someone's taking the model and selling it, like the actual model. But if you put that model in your render, you couldn't. I don't think you could claim copyright on that render because that's art created out of the model. It's not actually copying the model.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That's a tough.
I'm pretty sure 3D Warehouse specifically is for free models and stuff like that, and they may have. I don't know.
And he said, "Thanks so much for the response. This isn't." And so this next part I haven't responded to, but I'm going to respond here. He said, "It seems like it's okay to use these for free without getting permission or crediting the person who made it. I think it's just hard to shake the feeling that it's too good to be true, regardless of whether these models need a lot of cleanup or not. So I'm assuming people are uploading their models with full knowledge that other people will use them without crediting them. It just seems odd. I'm wondering what's the difference between using models for non-commercial and commercial. And I think my problem has been that there's this feeling that I needed to make everything from scratch in order to claim that it's my own. So I'm trying to adjust to a different way of thinking. For me, it's not so much of an issue of when it comes to a paid asset, I wouldn't feel the need to mention it, but, like Kit Bash or whatever. And by the way, love the podcast. It's very informative, and especially like it when I learn something as simple and practical as a hotkey or navigation in Cinema 4D that I can try out during my workday. So, I guess the whole thing about using models is whatever makes your workflow fast, right? At work, fast. We buy models all the time, and there's no. Our clients actually are fine with that because it saves them money. You know, I'm not going to sit there for 4 hours working on a model when I could buy it for $30 because you don't want to do our hourly rate for that long to create something that you could just buy for $30. There's nothing wrong with it. You shouldn't feel bad about it. That's what it's there for. That's literally what it's there for. That's why Turbo Squid exists, because if you have to make a render of a neighborhood or something, you don't want to build each individual house. You know how long that's going to take? You want to be honest,
that also feeds the artist that created it. So you also got to think of it that way. You know, you may think it only might be $30, but if we're all buying that same asset, this is putting food on that person's table who spent a lot of time building that model.
Putting food on your family.
Food on their family.
Food. Yeah. Just put food on your family.
Show title.
just spaghetti.
Yeah. Spaghetti.
Mom spaghetti.
Yeah.
Forgot what I was gonna say.
Models.
Something. Oh yeah. My whole thought process is if it will take me, I take my hourly rate, right? And if it is cheaper to buy it than the amount of time that it would take me to build it myself,
right,
then I'll buy it. You know?
Sometimes it's borderline. You're trying to think, let's like, I know it's just a window, but like, do I really want to build and it's so easy to build a window, but like, do I want to build a really detailed looking window? Fine, I'll just buy it. It's $5.
Dude, you know what? You want some free windows and doors? The Blender, the new Blender stuff has like whole add-ons to where you can basically like automatically put it in and size it exactly how you need.
That's nice.
Watch the Blender Guru. It's here. I'll put in the show notes.
You need to be getting the newest Andrew Price on here, Schmoozy Matt. Come on.
I know. I'll work on it.
Bye, Bob. See you later. Bye.
The Blender Guru, his newest tutorial. I'll put it in. We'll put it in the show notes. Okay. Here, Dave. I'll put it in the dingus.
Thank you for putting it in the dingus. Next email, Dan Compton, coming straight out of Compton. You asked for feedback on episode 168. Okay, you slack-ass slackers. Slack, you get it. Stop slacking off and learn
see what you did.
And learn Houdini so you can do tutorials with Redshift and help my slow learning ass out. Honestly, though, why not move to more Houdini stuff? I'd love to hear your take on that. Thanks for the podcast. Great stuff.
Would love to. I totally would love to. You know, but a lot of it depends on like there are so few times in which I need particles and explosions and like stuff. And and like I mean, I already have X particles right now, you know, and real flow and, you know, turbulence FD. Things. It's like I need a project where it's like, okay, I need a lot of this stuff and I've got time to learn Houdini.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Time. Well, I was
because I'm not gonna model in Houdini. I never will. I won't learn to model in Houdini. I would use it for very specific situations and stuff.
I was joking around with Phil the other day because when we were watching the presentations, there was some insane Houdini stuff. And so I just opened my Todoist app and I just put learn Houdini. Because that's easy to check off the list, right?
That's funny. Yeah.
You know, it's
going to be there for years.
Yeah. The thing is, even if I learned Houdini, I don't think that it would be so long before I would feel good enough to be able to do my own tutorial. I think you have to rely on other people. So, like, for example, you know, Mograph.com, one of the classes is going to be Mark Fancher's Stop Being Scared of Houdini course.
Nope. I'm going to continue to be scared of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even after taking the course.
Yeah. No, I'm still scared.
And part 2 will be, are you still scared?
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know,
part 3 is scared again.
Still scared.
Houdini.
Yeah.
Houdini.
We won't get scared again.
The Houdini Chronicles.
Yeah.
Part 4, scared. Part 4, Electric Boogaloo.
Houdini 4, Electric Boogaloo.
Terrible.
Paul Blart, part 4, Houdini. I don't know.
Fleur Blurt Merker. Anyway.
All right. Next on the list is from Graham Bucknell about V-Ray. This topic is... Oh, and by the way, we got a very similar...
The revenge.
Good. That's good.
We got some comments and stuff like, oh, why don't you talk about Arnold more? And why don't you talk about this more? It's like, we can only talk about what we really know well that we work with every day.
I love
talk
Arnold.
about all of it.
I
we
really
talk
do.
about Arnold.
Like, I think Arnold is great.
But I can't go into too much detail if I don't know the ins and outs of it. That's the problem.
As soon as it hits GPU, I guarantee you we're going to be talking about it a lot because we will have it.
Oh yeah, we'll have it for sure.
The problem is, like, we're a GPU studio, so like we don't necessarily have the resources in order to, you know, do Arnold rendering often. But I've played with it a lot, and I've done a few renders with it, and I really like it. I really like it.
Do you guys know anything about whether or not Arnold is going GPU centric?
It is.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're working on it right now. Yeah, Chad was just saying on the chat that it's the only one that something.
The RTX support.
Rewind the podcast if you want to hear it.
No. I just wanted to make sure that was public. No, I didn't know.
If you want a preview of it, that same video that we have where Chad's showing the substance stuff for the pack, he also goes into the preview of it. So you can actually see what it looks like in that video if you're interested. It looks really cool. Graham Bucknell says, V-Ray, topic ideas. V-Ray and the Chaos Group takeover. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
It's an excellent thing. It is an excellent thing because, like, the people who were in charge of V-Ray for C4D let it fall to the wayside, and then other render engines like, you know, Octane and Redshift and Arnold came and swooped everything up. And there's not a lot of people using V-Ray anymore. So with Chaos Group actually taking it over, they can probably expand quite a bit and actually keep things up to date.
Do you think, here's my question, do you think it is too late for V-Ray now?
No, not at all. I think if V-Ray Next if V-Ray Next was as fast as Redshift, I would use V-Ray Next in a heartbeat because I fell in love with V-Ray. And V-Ray to me is you get the same like functionality as Redshift with the ease of use of Octane.
You think so?
Absolutely.
There were so many options in V-Ray. I was a little overwhelmed. I mean,
there are,
but you know,
that's kind of how I felt, Dave.
But it's like if you understand like one of those screens, you kind of understand all the rest. You know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Chad says it's too late for V-Ray. You know, but I disagree. Like I think if V-Ray Next were as fast as Redshift, you know, if they could get the speed going as fast as some of these GPU renderers, like I think some people would move back, especially ones who were like, you know, OG V-Ray users.
I agree with Chad though, because I think what's going to happen is this GPU is going to come out for Arnold, and anything V-Ray does, GPU after that is just going to be, it's going to get so overshadowed by Arnold. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I will agree with you there. I'll agree with you there. Yeah.
The question is, when is it coming out?
Yeah.
You know?
Who knows?
I've been hinting at it for a while. You think maybe Seagraph?
I don't know.
Too early?
Yeah, I don't know. It'll come out when it comes out, you know?
Yeah, when it's ready.
What is it that the Nintendo guy said? You know, he says
in the oven.
you can make if you make a bad game because you're trying to hit a deadline, you'll always have a bad game. But if you delay the release to make a really good game, you know, people may be mad at first, but it'll still be a really good game.
That's the problem with Creative Cloud, is that everything has to be released at the same time.
Absolutely. Yep.
So then you get stuff like After Effects. Oh, well, we weren't really ready, but everything else has got to be released for this year's release together. So we're just going to throw it out
our one developer for After Effects has been working really hard for the past year.
Oh.
And we've only got so many hamsters to power the area that they're working.
Yeah.
And they're all tired.
All right, so let's move on to some Brograph recommends. Hopefully you got this ahead of time, so you had a little bit to think about, especially the last answer, which is the life hack answer. I know that's always kind of a hard one, you know, trying to come up with a decent life hack.
Yeah.
So let's go to your favorite movie. We want to know what your favorite movie is.
That's a tricky one because it's so hard to ask anybody in our industry what our favorite movie is. I will say, this is going to sound so bad, but I really like Fifth Element.
Oh, that's a great choice,
dude. Love it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. And the funny little fact is, I don't know, it's become a joke now with a couple of my friends, but I own every medium of Fifth Element.
Oh, really?
Laserdisc, VHS,
That's
Blu-ray, 4K.
You have HD DVD?
HD DVD. I still have it when I had that
too.
Xbox.
Yeah.
I have every medium that has ever been released.
I was so
Fifth
certain
Element.
that HD DVD was going to be the winner in that.
So was I.
I was worried that it was, you know, even though I knew Blu-ray was better.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I said it on the show before. I was basing it on what the pornography industry was using, because that's how VHS made it over beta.
Yeah,
but
pretty much.
Yep.
You know.
Drives.
Well.
Yeah.
That's all wrong. That is probably, I don't know. That's probably one of my favorite movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not too far off, right? Cool.
Every time I'm in my settings in Cinema 4D for Multipass, I'm like, Lilo Dallas Multipass.
All the time.
Every time.
You're gonna hate me, but I've never seen it all the way through. I've seen like the beginning, to maybe halfway through, but I've never actually sat down and watched the whole thing. I hear it's good. I knew a bunch of people who had that little dot tattoo, you know.
Oh yeah.
The dot
really?
tattoo. Yeah, I knew a couple people who had gotten it.
You think there'll ever be a part 2?
No.
No.
Bruce Willis hated shooting it.
Really? Why?
Because he thought it was a complete joke.
Huh.
So because I mean, if you think about it, you know, from his prior movies to that,
Yeah.
you know, he's all of a sudden surrounded by Chris Tucker with his ridiculous outfit, and Jean-Paul Gaultier is creating all these elaborate costumes, and he's just surrounded by green screen sets and ridiculous costumes, and he's just like, what did I get myself into? So
And those weird Jim Henson characters at the beginning of the movie.
right,
Oh, yeah.
exactly. The whatever they're called.
They
I
look
forget.
like something from the Dark Crystal.
Right,
Yeah,
that's what
they
I was
totally
thinking,
do.
yeah.
They totally do.
Yeah.
And
what's his name from 90210 at the beginning? Aziz Light.
Oh,
With-
Aziz Light. Oh, that's another one I use all the time.
Yeah, I said it
Aziz
too.
Light. I say
Yeah.
that so
Aziz
often.
Light?
Aziz
Luke
Light.
Perry.
Wait, wasn't
Luke-
that
Luke Perry?
one of his
Luke
prior
Perry.
movies Hudson Hawk, and he thought Fifth Element was a joke? I don't know. Grant just asked, wasn't one of his prior movies Hudson Hawk, and he thought
I
Fifth
don't even
Element
know
was
what
a joke?
Hudson Hawk is.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it. But
But yeah, he hated it. From what I've heard from everybody, he hated shooting the movie, and then it wasn't until afterwards where he's like, okay, it's kind of good.
well, anytime that there's a part 2 to something too, like that's something that good, like it really has to be good. So if they ever do a part 2, just like if you know the awful part 2 they did to Anchorman,
Right.
which was one of the worst movies of all time in my opinion. I would like to just mention that there was some sort of preview of something that's going to be announced or shown on Super Bowl Sunday for The Dude. Did you see this?
Oh, really?
Big Lebowski preview thing?
No, I didn't.
I don't know if it's just... I think, honestly, it's just going to be like a commercial or something with The Dude in it. But everybody's like, oh, is this part 2? I'm like, if there's a part 2 to Big Lebowski, it must be done right, or else you're going to ruin it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the
Fingers-
money,
fingers crossed.
Lebowski?
It's down there somewhere. Let me check. Obviously, you're not a golfer. All right, let's
Obviously.
move on to music. What do you like to listen to, especially when you're working? Do you listen to music when you're working?
Oh my God, yes. It's like the driving force that keeps me going during the day.
His Pioneer speakers, yo.
Yeah.
Oh, right. No, it's I I actually, it depends on the mood, but a lot of times I listen to, I have this like focus playlist that I've created, and it's got like Blackmail, Tycho, a lot of these chill artists. And then every once in a while, when I need to get a little more inspirational, I'll listen to movie soundtracks. You know, Danny Elfman.
You're not the only person to say that. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Really? Yeah. It's it just puts you in a different mindset and kind of calms you down a little bit. But yeah, that's when I'm working, that's what I'm listening to most of the time. And yeah, and then everything else just depends on my mood. If I'm in a bad mood, I'll listen to something that's angry. But I don't do that very often because I don't get in bad moods very often.
So you had a bad day. That's what you're listening to, right?
Yes, yes, 100%. That's what I listen to on repeat. Hans Zimmer, yes, like Hans Zimmer, like that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
What about TV show? And it doesn't have to be. It could be your all-time or maybe something currently right now that you're really enjoying.
You know what's funny is my wife and I are total binge watchers, which I feel like all of us are now.
Yep.
We just finished a series called Safe on Netflix with Michael C. Hall, and it was just a super quick, 2-night binger, and that was kind of fun. But somebody told me to watch The Expanse, and that's on Amazon, and I started watching that. If you guys ever watched Battlestar Galactica, it feels. It has some vibes of Battlestar Galactica mixed with like a little more, I don't know, a little bit more of a less alien. Like there's no aspects of like the robotic Cylons and all that stuff. But I started watching it and I've gotten through the first season, and it's actually pretty dang interesting because it's just as if we were hundreds of years in the future where factions have been separated into a space faction, a Mars faction, people that still live on Earth, the people that are mining the asteroids, but it's not based off of like the Star Trek universe or anything like that where there's aliens and whatnot. It's more like just us in the future and how the different factions kind of conflict with each other. So yeah, it's. Now I heard, Grant, thank you for telling me that because I haven't gotten through season 2 yet. So that's good to know. He just said that it's not that great after season 2. So
I hate
don't
when
watch
that happens.
Yeah, I know. And that it's so hard nowadays to get invested in the show. That's why I really liked Safe, because it was just one of those shows where it's like 8 episodes, 9 episodes, you're done. There's a start, there's a finish. A lot of the BBC and British shows do that, where they just literally have a start and a finish. I think The Bodyguard was another one that we watched on Netflix, and it had the guy from. Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
And then obviously Game of Thrones. I mean, I watch Game of Thrones. I actually was the Night King for Halloween last year.
I've seen 2 episodes of Game of Thrones.
Did you see David Ariev and Schmoopy dressed up as Game of Thrones for Halloween 2 years ago?
Really?
Yeah, you need to check that out on his Facebook. Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, they nailed it. They nailed it.
Here, guys, I'm going to show you a little picture. I'm going to text.
I got a Game of Thrones. There's now a series of collectible Game of Thrones Talisker scotches, which I came across.
Ooh, yes, and they're actually pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't tried.
Wait, was that you?
That is me. Yeah, I just sent you a picture.
That's you
of my Game of Thrones costume.
Wow.
Oh, I'm looking this up. Oh, wait, what? Wait.
That's insane, dude.
Here, you know what? I'm going to do this for you guys. Hold on. I'm going to show you the mask. I have it right here.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm going to I got to show this first of all. Oh my gosh.
That is insane.
There you guys go.
How?
Wow.
Okay, hold on. Let me come back.
There's my Night King mask.
Dang, dude.
Wow, dude.
And this is the collection of masks.
Where'd you get those from?
Yeah.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah. One of my buddies designs them. And,
wow.
Yeah, just little fun stuff. There you go. There's one advantage of having using my stupid little Canon camera as my webcam.
Well, while you're setting that back up, podcast. What about?
You got a cable in the way.
Yeah, I'll fix it.
What about podcasts? What do you listen to podcast-wise?
Brograph.
Whatever.
Well, yeah, obviously, but...
I actually don't listen to podcasts as much as I'd like to. It's mostly, it's mostly music and, like especially during my days and when I'm editing.
Mm-hmm.
Music is really what's kind of keeping me going through the day.
Gotcha.
But I think I'm going to start listening to a lot more podcasts and watching a lot more podcasts. Tutorials though, all over the place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's my driving force of what keeps me knowledgeable and learning something new every day.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Matt, you wrote Orville in the chat. Dude, I'm loving Orville this season.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard about Orville. I've heard
It is
Orville.
It's
so
like,
great.
dude, classic
It is so
Next
good.
Generation, so good,
And-
so good.
No spoilers, but the latest episode last week, it was interesting because it didn't really even have much comedy at all in it. It was almost like a fully just regular episode of old school Star Trek in a way, so good.
There was an episode with Alara, one of the security officer, and what was so amazing was that they had Dr. Phlox from Enterprise on there, and the holographic doctor from Voyager. They were both on the same episode, and I was like, oh, this
they
is
bring
so
in a
good.
lot of people like that. Ted Danson was in it the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, and did you know that the security officer and Seth MacFarlane, they're dating in real life?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
did
then,
you the blue guy that everyone falls in love with, and when he explodes everywhere or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's his name? Oh, the dude from Parks and Rec, Rob Lowe. That's Rob Lowe.
Oh yes, I did know that was Rob Lowe. Oh yeah, the porn addiction episode.
Yeah.
The porn addiction,
that
was good.
That was funny.
The and then the guy who plays Joe on Family Guy. He's Putty.
Oh yeah.
He's the guy with the big elephant nose thing that's attached to him now.
I forgot that he played Joe on Family Guy.
Yeah.
I was like, man, how did they get Patrick Warburton on here?
And then there was also there's a guy who does a ton of voices in Family Guy. There's some Oreos left. I think I'll take those home to my cats. He's the guy with the big, super, super ugly makeup face that they do, who was trying to date the security officer, but she wasn't interested.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen him a couple of times on it. Yeah. Holographic Doctor writes for the show. I did not know that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and
that
then
is so funny.
Also, there's the woman who's second in command. That's the ex-wife, and then the red-haired guy. What's his name?
I don't know.
They're dating in real life as well.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right.
I
got 15 minutes until I gotta go.
Oh yeah. All right, so let's we only have a few left here. Plugin, favorite plugin.
My favorite plugin, without saying Octane. I mean, Octane is kind of my favorite plugin. However, I can't. There's no way I can even say that. I can say what my favorite plugin is because I use everything from your stuff to Grayscale Gorilla stuff to Neat Video to I feel like I'm using the whole repertoire of plugins on a daily that I can't pinpoint any one. When I'm doing fluid sims, Turbulence FD is my go-to, and I recently Top of Wire. It has been a really fun one for me because it got rid of a tedious task of sweep NURBS and doing dynamics. With one of the mechs that I had, I literally had, it was like a kind of a basic looking mech, and then I kit bashed it to make it look better because it was a game asset that I purchased, and it was made for like iOS or whatever, but it had really good animation to it. So I took that really crappy game asset, and then I just started throwing a bunch of kit bash elements on top of it, and then I was like, it still is missing something, and then I just brought in Top of Wire, added a bunch of little spline points, and then let that go.
Yeah.
I think you're frozen.
Did I freeze?
Oh, did we lose your camera?
I don't know. We'll see.
What you get for picking it up?
Yeah. Are you out of battery on your camera? Maybe that's why.
Just right now.
I'll do a marker. It's all good.
Cool.
There we go.
Yeah.
And we're back.
We're back.
And we're back, everybody. All right, so the last one. I know Matt's got to get out of here. So, headphones. Who are you wearing? Are you wearing that Panasonic? What do you?
No, I'm wearing just some some noise canceling Beats headphones.
Gotcha.
Beats.
They're the ones I travel with, and the ones that my nice headphones are at home because I usually watch movies when everyone else goes to sleep.
Gotcha.
and these are the ones that I just
Or not Panasonic. Pioneer? No Pioneer.
Pioneer,
right?
Yeah.
Favorite website or Chrome extension? Either or. Could be app too.
Website. I get a lot of inspiration from the art of the title sequence. What is it? I think it's. I just have it saved. Art of the title. Yeah, I get a lot of inspiration from that website because a lot of the shows that I watch, I really get into the title sequences, and I feel like title sequences are getting to a completely different level now.
Yeah.
Where and I like that website because it breaks down how they created those title sequences and what went into them, and I point that out just because I get a lot of fun inspiration from that, and that's just the start of my day of websites that I visit. But that's kind of like the first one that I always visit, only because it's the first shortcut I think I ever made of creative inspiration. Yeah.
And then the hard one, your favorite life hack.
Oh God, I'm terrible with life hacks. I'd say for my day to day. Oh God, you guys. I know you guys even gave me some time to think about it, but I've had some trouble thinking about this one. I mean, all I could say.
Should just gone on the subreddit life hacks and been like, all right, this one, I choose this one.
Yeah, I mean, a good life hack maybe, especially in our industry. Maybe don't do your own accounting.
Ha! It's pretty good.
There
all
you
right.
go. Pretty good.
I'll take that one.
Have somebody else do it.
There you go. Can't someone else do it?
Yeah.
Yes, they can.
Yes.
But you got to pay.
Yes.
So if people want to find you online, where can they find you?
Well, you can email me for now. I have my company's called Seventh Dream Media, and I will have a website and it'll be seventh-dream-media.com. And everything was working up until about a month ago, and the server crashed, so now I have to start from scratch. That was a fun.
Looks like it's working.
It's working, but it's back to the autosave from the first day that I started.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so there's like literally one.
I'll tell you, your autosave from when you first started still looks better than a couple of people who I currently work with who are on the newest version.
It's literally got my one music video. I think it's the Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, dude.
That's a fun music video though. I did.
Yeah.
There's some. That's the video that I created a bear shark.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Bear shark. Do.
Oh my gosh.
God.
Well, we appreciate you being on. We are hoping that we're going to see you at least for maybe a day or two if you can make it out to NAB this year.
That's my plan. That's my plan. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I always have fun with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to get out of here so Matt can go pick up his kid.
Yep.
You can rate us on iTunes. You can leave a review. You can also subscribe on your podcatcher of choice. That helps get our ratings up. Subscribe to our newsletter, which goes out every couple of years or so. You can see you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with the No Brograph, No Mograph tee, the limited edition Gate and Simone shirt, which is still available. Get you one before it's too late. Pretty soon you won't be able to get the Brograph merchandise anymore. I'm just saying.
Yep.
It's going away.
It's true.
Yep. We're going to be switching over fairly soon. So,
I need another rendered things one. It's
Okay.
one of my favorite shirts. I wear
I
that all
saw
the time.
your photo you posted the other day. You were
Yeah,
wearing
I've
it.
seen a few pictures of you wearing that shirt.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Nvidia came over to my studio last week to do an interview.
Uh-huh.
Rocking the Render Things shirt all the
Nice,
time.
nice.
Nice. Yeah, you can
Yeah,
get the
that's
Render
awesome.
Things shirt or hoodie. You can also get the Paul Babb Feel the Bab 2020 shirt. We need them now more
Yep.
than ever. All the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders. And yeah, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, of course, YouTube, Brograph.com, and that wraps up our show for today.
We need a new Paul Babb shirt that says Paul Babb 2020. We need him more than ever.
Yeah, now more than ever.
Now more than ever.
We beg you.
Yeah.
And we're going to have another show on Monday as well. So
Yep.
Phil will be on. We'll be talking about MDC and some other things. So if there's some news going on in the industry that we didn't hit today, then we'll hit it on Monday.
Yep.
So, all right. We're going to get out of here. Until next week, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Sabor.
Have a good
Later,
one.
guys.
Later, bros.
Hey. And end scene. We're still live, just so you know.
Stopping my recording.
Well, I'm gonna stop my recording. I'll let you know when we're not live. Stand by.
I need a nap.
Standing by for not being live.
Dude, we haven't eaten.